Flavia.
Yes. You had mentioned that, by the way, I homeschool my children.
Yes.
And I said I had no idea that actually happens here in Uganda. And of course, I've done some reading from the last time we spoke until now, and I've realized, okay, it's not just now. From years ago, people started homeschooling their children. And so I wanted us to understand it. And just to start with asking, is this an alternative to the traditional education, or is it just a choice?
Thank you, Flavia. It's a choice.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. It's not an alternative. In a sense, it will be for some parents. Like it's an alternative. Like we keep moving, so we decide to homeschool. So wherever we go, we can go with our children.
Yes,
like in that case. Otherwise, it's a choice. You choose to homeschool your children or to put them in formal school, traditional school.
Yeah. So what is homeschooling? Is it just like we hear the title? You educate your children from home.
Yes. This is education at home. The child gets to learn in a home environment. You structure and schedule at home. The child gets to be on a curriculum, and they learn like any other children are learning, but from home.
So who's teaching? Who's doing? Because if I go to traditional schools, I meet the teachers, different teachers at that, with different subjects. What happens at home?
At home, a child has their curriculum. A curriculum is a full scope of every subject that a child needs to do
at that grade. Is it identical to what we would meet in traditional schools?
Not so much. Some things differ, but it's identical in the subjects. Only while you do English in the traditional school, in homeschool you will find grammar, spelling, writing, all part of English, word building, all individualized, so that by the time the child is done with English, it is, yes, they know English, they can spell, they can punctuate, it's a bit detailed. Okay. Yeah.
So it's more detailed with homeschooling?
It's more detailed with homeschooling, and it gives the child the time to master the concepts with no competition, with no they don't get to feel like I need to be fast. They're leaving me. No, they don't have a rush. If my child is slow, it is okay. If my child has a special learning need, it is very fine that I will move according to my pace as a child when I'm in a homeschool curriculum.
Okay, so I guess before we delve so deep into how it maybe works, where if I'm homeschooling my child, how do I start if I make the decision? You as Agatha, you have 2 children.
Yes.
Are they both homeschooled?
Yes.
Why did you decide on this? Why did it occur to you that perhaps this is a good way to take? I mean, what influenced your decision?
There were quite a number of factors, but most importantly, I discovered my children have special learning needs. Their learning styles are different. In school, what was problematic for the teachers, I discovered was a strength for me, for my child. Yes. My child does not concentrate for a long time. He's an extremely brilliant boy, but he will not be in class for 2 hours till break time. So actually at home I have structured his timetable. Each child has their timetable because they're in their own grade.
Just because they are home.
Yeah, they don't. Everyone has their timetable, and they have their targets. They set at the beginning of the day and say, this is what I'm going to accomplish today, and it's up to them to accomplish it. That kind of integrity and honesty must also come in. So his timetable is short span. He learns short, learns really well, and I let him go. So you find my son having 3 break times.
Really?
Where another child has 1 break. But he has learned tremendously, and it's okay with me because I have learned. I have learned him. He needs the breaks in between. He needs the breaks in between. You know, and I understood the teachers, because he would oh, he's brilliant. Then he jumps, he goes to help the other children, and then he will become, you know, he's like a consultant in the class, you know, because he's here and there. And then I'm like, no, since it's a problem there, let me deal with it at home. And he has finished all his work. He has performed so well, and I'm going to gift him for Christmas for that.
For performing well.
For performing well. He's doing excellently. Yeah.
And you said my children are different, so they have different schedules.
Yes.
So say someone is trying to homeschool, but they look at both their children and say, I have a very stubborn one, I have a very shy one.
Yes.
How am I going to manage both characters?
Yeah, that's one of the challenges we face in homeschool. You have to interface with these children. You see, a teacher in formal school, in traditional school, has these 20 children. Whatever their learning need is, you're all the same. I have a curriculum to beat. I'm not saying that's bad. It's a strength on their part because that's how they are appraised.
Yes.
Yeah, but the children are different. One child is not actually grasping the thing.
There's a child at the back who's sitting at the back who is
even
not
at the front. Even at the front.
Some sit at the front and still don't understand.
Even at the front, but they're not able to exactly, conceptualize. Then what do you end up doing? Coaching during holiday, and yet holiday is resting time. So you end up looking for coaches because your child missed out on something. They were subjected to the exams at the same time with the ones who grasped. There are those who are changing their children from school to school because they think the other school is done with the solution. The other school is done, but it's just because this child exactly. It's just that this child's learning need has not been dealt with. They're not being given the attention they need. But at home, I am able. I told you last time we set academic goals.
Yes.
We set our academic goals considering the things we struggle with in school. I told you my daughter used to write really badly, and I was like, no. What is happening with her? No, and we set it as an academic goal. But how did I know? I was there. I'm involved. I supervise her work. You know, I am able to. And when I need any help, I consult. You know, yes.
Your children, when you decided to homeschool, was this from day one? Did they ever go into traditional schools?
Yes, they did.
They did go through traditional schools. I'm guessing it's important to tell your children now you won't be going to school. You'll be staying home.
Yes, you
Mommy
prepare
will
them.
be teacher.
I had to do preparation.
How does that preparation work?
I had to do preparation. I had to tell them this is how it's done. I told them this is how you're going to benefit. These are the challenges with it. But if you're willing and if you know you work hard, this is what's going. And they love it so much.
Really?
Yes. And children are homeschooling even at secondary level. So you're going to ask me, where do they go to the lab?
Wait.
Where do they go?
I thought this is just for
the little ones.
Yeah.
No. It goes up to right up to S6, and the child is able to join university from homeschool. So
you can join university from a homeschooling curriculum.
Yes, you can.
There you go. We learn something every day. So because I read about a family from the 90s who homeschooled their children, all of their children,
yes,
and they become brilliant in the job market. And I think we'll eventually get to that, whether you can integrate them back, into the market if they're not part of traditional school. I asked that because also the mentality in Uganda is that, what do you mean the children are at home and study? Right? How? But tell me about the environment at home, because you say it like it's a strength. Like for me to have my children in an environment they're used to, they study quicker, they learn quicker, and they're more comfortable. But also, I remember back, if you let me be home, it would be comfort for me.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Time
to play.
I
don't know if I'd be very eager to learn in that environment. So do you then also create a different environment within the home for the child to learn?
Yes, many homeschoolers have what we call a learning center within the house. Even if it's just your dining table, if you have a small house and you create it to be a learning center, the children will learn from there. Or you put stations. You put station for every child. Every child has their station with their books, with all of these resources that they need for their grade. Yes, but I also wanted to share that what homeschool does is to allow a child space, free space to learn with no competition. At home, there is no one who can best pass on discipline to children like the parent. Now parents are going to tell me you don't have time. Actually, we are very
I'm not
busy.
Home, so how am I
not home. Yeah, I have many friends who are homeschooling, and they are very busy parents.
Okay.
But they supervise and monitor the environment.
Okay, so tell us about that. Homeschooling doesn't mean it's just the parent.
It doesn't mean leave your job, go and homeschool your children.
So you have what, tutors?
Have the upper hand over your home still.
Okay.
get tutors, private tutors, especially who are trained in that curriculum or who are ready, they are passionate and they love children, and you can train in that curriculum and get them ready to tutor your children, and they're able to give you a report, they're able to, you can get tutors for your children.
What about
but you make sure you supervise.
You said you prepared the children and said this is changing from waking up every day to go to school will be home. What about you? How do you prepare yourself as a parent to then teach the child? Do you go to a special school? Do you have to learn some materials? What happens with the parent?
First of all, it's a mindset thing.
Okay. Yes,
it's a mindset like, am I willing to do? Their parents, I can't.
Well, I'm doing homework with the child is hard.
Even when they're at home, they're not exactly on a job. They're like, I can't teach the children. So it's a mindset thing. Okay. But also, you get training. You can't be good at something until you train for it. Yes, so you train in a curriculum, or you train how to homeschool children. The do's, the don'ts, how you have to wake up early, prepare the lessons. We have lesson plans. We have lessons plans where you prepare.
Does this take long?
To prepare?
Is there training that is timed?
Some trainings are 2 weeks. 2 weeks long for a parent or for a supervisor. Or for a child, or for you as a monitor, or for you as a home educator. The trainings can go as 2 weeks long, 1 week. It depends on who is conducting that training for you. Yes, otherwise, you prepare yourself and you offer yourself to do that. If you're a working parent, you still wake up early in time. Are the children's books set? Are their goals set? Can we... Is it okay? Is the environment clean? Can they start out with their break time? You do that kind of supervision. And when you come back from work, look through. Let the children tell you what they have learned. Let them converse for you. Let them tell you they are new, the concepts they learned today, and you make it interesting. Interesting,
yeah. I was particularly sent to school very early. I think I was probably shipped to boarding school at like 4 years old or 3. I mean, I would like to think my parents wanted to get rid of me, but I also like to say that for a long time, because I'm an only child, I did not necessarily speak to other people or children. So I would always stay in my own corner and my own habitat. So they figured, take her to a school, she meets other people, she'll be forced to socialize. So the parents who are saying, at least they get to play with others, at least they get to meet others. How does socializing then happen with homeschooling?
Well, that has been demystified in homeschool.
Okay.
Because one, you create an environment where children can play with different kinds of things.
Okay.
But also, I want to tell you that when we are learning, we don't only learn in the books. We also watch videos, learning videos. We get to see science experiments on video and all of that. But also, we belong to a homeschool community. We have many homeschoolers such that they've started creating...
You told me that and I was surprised. There's a real community?
Lots of them. Doctors, lawyers, name it, are homeschooling their children. And so there are many. So we've been trying to identify satellites where parents can belong. I belong to Ntinda Satellite, proudly associated with those wonderful parents. And I have learned from them because I'm only 2 years homeschooling, but some of them have homeschooled like for 10 years. Others have their children in university now and they homeschooled all the way. So I have been able to learn from them tremendously. Otherwise, we get to homeschool together with them. We pick a day in the week where our children can all meet. So we do sports, we do athletics, we get corporate deals, like if we want IT for our children, we get an IT company and then they take our children through all these packages. My son just completed Introduction to IT, but it was through that kind of environment of the homeschool community. We got a corporate deal and we've been doing our IT with Tech Cubes Uganda, and the children are growing in their IT actually. One day, just host these children. Brilliant children. One of them is an IT guru. 2 of them actually. 2 of them, by the time he was 13, he already had a clientele of 15 companies in Uganda for which he's designing websites.
Imagine that.
That's what homeschool does. It gives a child the space, the time to grow in that in which they are interested. When a parent discovers my child is interested in this, you do everything you can for your child to grow exactly in that.
So someone is watching us talking about homeschooling in Uganda, and I'm going to represent them on two things. One is, if I'm hearing that I don't have to take my child to traditional school, what is the biggest problem we cry about January is on its way, school fees.
Yes.
And someone is thinking, is it cheaper to then homeschool my child? And I have a feeling it's not necessarily cheaper, actually, because some may think you ran away from traditional school to get a cheaper alternative. But it's not that cheap, is it?
My dear, it is extremely expensive. Because what we do, we don't just do academics. We chase dreams. We chase the dreams. The children chase their dreams. We're not after just scoring. That's why you find many homeschoolers producing wonderful musicians, producing businessmen. You were talking about the job market.
Yes.
We are not preparing children to look for jobs. We're preparing children to create jobs.
Okay.
That's why I told you that boy is able to lecture even in Chambogo University and go and speak to the IT students, but he's only 13. You see, that's why my children have started their businesses, and their businesses are picking up. That's why you find another child doing music, and they are in all these places because they have this musical thing, and their parents have allowed for them to grow, to play this guitar and play it really well and grow in that.
Okay, so you did hint on the job market. So, and then you also said these ones were homeschooled till university. So if I went through traditional school and through it all, I have my documents, my papers that say I went to this school and A-level, O-level, this is how I was scored or graded, which I'm sure you also have a way they're grading them.
Yes.
But if we both put our documents there, would a homeschooled child be considered? Are they having trouble being considered?
They're not having trouble, because when they're tested, when they see their grades, when you interface with them, before you give them any test, you see something different about them.
Okay.
They seem to be intelligent and in charge. You know, we've not been taught to compete. Claim me and I beat this person. We're not after competition. We're not playing a game to win the other person. We are simply teaching them to be good.
Excellence?
Individual excellence. Be good at what you are doing. When you meet other people, you will stand out.
Okay.
We're not after beat them, be better than them in this other thing. No. Do you know your life's purpose? Number one. Do you know what you're good at? Where is your niche? Grow in it. Be good. Be excellent. That boy is developing applications by himself. I like that homeschool allows space for self-drivenness. You drive yourself to know more, to learn better, to research. Actually, they do research. They write on things they have researched about. We have a book club in our homeschool. Children get to read a book. Even children as young as 5. They read a book and they write a book report, and they present to us, the parents, and we are correcting you. You tell us, what's the plot of your story? Who was your most liked character? Who was the least favorite? What do you recommend? Lessons learned from the story? We want these children to have that mindset of self-driven.
What I've heard from you is that it first of all, because I like what you said at the beginning, as we're wrapping up, it's a choice to homeschool your child. Choice. And it might be a choice to say, I want them to get better, I want them to get individual attention, so that I know their strengths. And
the one-on-one
and I then, hold their strength up, so that can be their strength in life. Because eventually we're studying, and at the end of it all, trying to find our strength. As we're wrapping up, resources, are you able to get books for homeschoolers?
Yes.
Is everything available in this country? When
you choose a curriculum you want to do, you search for it and see how to get it. I personally import mine.
Yes,
my friends get from South Africa, some from the US. But I want to tell you something. One of my motivational scriptures for homeschooling.
Yes.
A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. That's Proverbs 18:16. A man's gift makes room for him. We are growing these children's gifts more than anything. It's okay to pass science and to go through university and you've learned all these things, but you don't know your gift. You're not good at anything. That is dangerous in this generation. We want to breed a new generation of children who are in touch with their gifts early in life. Early in life, early enough for them to begin to implement and grow in that which they are gifted. Even the workplace, I encourage employees, stop, I don't know, maybe inflicting or forcing things out of people. Look for what your employee is good at.
And harness that.
And harness that.
Thank you so much, Agatha Sacha, for that conversation. If you're interested in homeschooling your child, as she said, there's a homeschooling community. Shouldn't be hard to find them. Thank you for your time for explaining this. I think you've left a bit of, you know, some soul searching and questioning in the minds of parents. That's it for Morning at 10 TV. Have a good day.
Watching Morning at NTV.